and I appreciate bold retail kind of softening things back up and preparing the stage again for having the brand discussion again. I think, Greg Mercer, I love people like that are kind of on the bleeding edge and seeing, how things are really changing and evolving. And they almost live out there like it's a reality right now, or we've completely realized that evolution. So they kind of push things forward, and they help us get to those places. But the reality is a lot of the market that we're selling to right now, they still do care about brands, and they are evolving. We need to evolve along with that. That's some of the things that we're going to go over. Again, Michael Southworth. My company agency we started about 4 years ago. We help brands navigate and kind of build their e-commerce strategy. We started on Amazon, and we've expanded to include websites, was another thing Greg said is a waste of time. But we believe that websites and social media and the total ecosystem of e-commerce have a lot of relevance and a lot of impact if we're trying to develop a brand and something that has longevity. So here's just a couple of things that we do with the brands that we work with. Again, as an agency, we only work with brands. We don't work with resellers. We don't work with kind of private labelers. We work with lots of launching brands that are just starting out, but they're trying to develop a brand and a long-term lifetime value with their customers. So just to talk about a couple of the advantages of doing that, of building a brand. We talked about the 90 million Prime members and growing rapidly. What we didn't talk about is that those skew to the higher income bracket. So I think it was household incomes of $75,000 or more. So these buyers are not just commodities. I think the general consensus was for a long time that, or in the earlier years, that much of what's sold on Amazon is kind of commodity products. People are just looking for the lowest price. They're not looking for quality or more premium brands. But the data shows that that's not true, and it's more and more shoppers are becoming accustomed and actually prefer to shop on the platform. So building a brand of value is important, from the consumer standpoint. The other thing is private label. It's very competitive. Amazon is doing their own with 95 products or categories or something now. So the real high volume stuff they're going to jump into where they see they can make good money. But your other competitors out there too, the other sellers that are chasing you, if you find that product, that sweet spot like Greg was showing, here's a great opportunity. Not a lot of reviews, not a lot of competitors. We can jump on there. We can do something a little bit better. We can do better quality, get it going. Well, if there is a real strong category or product, other people are going to catch on to that as well and come after you. I think somebody else gave the example earlier. Trying to remember the product, but she pulled off for a while, ran out of inventory. In the meantime, all the other competitors innovated and made it better, right? I had the same experience when we first started the agency with I private labeled the trunk organizer. It was a hot category. It was ramping up. It was almost exact experience. We actually ran out of inventory by the time we got back in. Long wait times from China, right? We finally got inventory back in. We dropped to third or fourth page. We started making our way back up, but here come all these guys from behind us that have much better products. They're larger. They have covers. They have different, all kinds of. They have little value adds that they're including with them. They're just, and I'm not putting any effort in it, right? I'm just let me just reorder some more and get on there. And so you just constantly have to stay in front of that, chasing new products or continually innovating yours and your offer and making sure that it's that you can beat out the other guys, okay, to kind of maintain that position. Versus building a brand, a quality experience where people want to keep coming back. Now, and that's obviously plays a lot more into consumable products or building multiple products within a brand that you can then target those same customers and go after. Consumers purchasing for the most part, unless it's a very commoditized item, it's an emotional transaction. It's people are moved by brands that they connect with, and so having something about you and your brand, really understanding your audience is really important to be able to develop that brand and develop some kind of connection with that consumer that's going to keep them coming back. Also, there are always in the private label space, particularly nothing against private label, but just know that there's manufacturers in China or wherever those manufacturers are that will go direct, that are going more and more direct to Amazon, and they're becoming more savvy at that as they understand better. They're much more proficient at getting on there, launching products, and going direct and just undercutting you. So you may be sourcing a product today and having great success, but a manufacturer might go direct tomorrow, and there goes all your margin. Having a credible brand, building an asset where you've got customers that don't just belong to Amazon, they come to you. Again, this takes time, but if you can achieve that where people are loyal to your brand and want to come to you, then you have a real credible asset as a company, if there were ever a potential exit or something you were looking at. And again, back to the longevity, of just keep them coming back. What can we sell them? And hopefully we have something that's consumable and we can continue to sell to them. So just real quick, 5 steps to creating a successful brand. We want to create value. What problem are we solving? Are we building a better mousetrap, or are we saving them money? I mean, money, having a better price, being more efficient is not a bad thing. It's a great thing as long as it's not just the next guy's going to offer a few cents less and beat us out, right? Once you've kind of figured out what that value proposition is, establish a message that resonates with your target audience. Understand who they are and what's meaningful to them, and what do you have. How are you gonna connect with them with that messaging, and be unique and be authentic. I mean, I guess there's 2 schools of thought. Is if you can just create a good tagline, a good value proposition, and something that people will they'll bite off, they'll go after it, then that can be effective. Or you can have success with that. But I believe in if you're unique to you and you really do get your customer and you really can connect with them, that it has much more long-term opportunity and more loyalty that can be created. Be consistent with your messaging, with your experience. If your product is about quality, you should be focused on quality product, quality packaging, quality service, and backing that up all along the way, every spot in the process. And be real, put people first. I mean, I think in this kind of virtual world that we live in with e-commerce and online and transactions, somebody talked about the millennials just not wanting to even talk on the phone or engage with a human. They just want to work with apps and text and all that. And I see it. We do it ourselves, right? It's very efficient. But we can get away from that. Anybody? I'm sure. I'd like to see you raise your hands. How many people have been frustrated with trying to deal with Amazon and get somebody on the phone to actually work with them? How about any other company, your cell phone service or any other utility that you just click this number, right? Super annoying. Don't be that person, right? Don't be that company that people are like, I can't. I just want to talk to a human, or I just want to feel like somebody's there and they give a crap, right? So, those are some things to help build that brand out. So in building out showcasing your brand, and we're going to get into talking, my presentation is mainly about detail pages and brand storefronts. And the first thing up there was, investing in your images, your design, your copywriting. If you've got the ability to do all of these things in-house or within your close network, then great, go for it. If not, find some experts, somebody that you can hire, and invest a little bit of money to get these things right. You'll see Greg also showed some products that had some success with very, very plain, simple picture up there and a couple of bullet points, no content. That's becoming super, super rare, right? Amazon's become as it becomes more and more competitive, as they give brands and sellers opportunity to add more content and more features and control a little bit more of the branded the shopping experience. People are investing in that. They're putting that. So that's your competitors. That's the competitive landscape. And So you should be looking at kind of the best practices and not like what's the minimum viable product, what's the lowest barrier in entry. Communicate your brand culture, again, whatever that message is and how you're going to connect with the customer and what the value is that you've determined, your value proposition. Make sure you communicate that on your detail pages, and understand talk about your team and where that connection is. Be consistent everywhere, from your website, social media, to your Amazon pages. Amazon, if they take control of it, or they're just going to build it with the most plain, simple, your brand name, the product, and the basic bullet points with nothing. They won't represent your brand at all. So you've got to do that. Make sure you have control of that. And then to have the most control over your brand, start off just being the exclusive seller. I think there are some people here who work with some more established brands. If you're selling in retail, you have other sellers on your brands. Make sure you at least gain control of that content. I highly recommend trying to reel that back in and being the exclusive seller, or having one or two exclusive FBA sellers, and not letting that kind of run wild. So here, we'll start with on the detail page. Starts with your titles. We want to create titles, again, that aren't just basic, just brand and the product and the color, the part number. We want to add some keywords and some small differentiators. It's something that's going to help with search, but we don't want to keyword stuff or make this long, irrelevant title, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples. So here's the example of the one that we just took on. Okay, this brand's in sad shape. They've got a bunch of images over on the side and the thumbnails, but Bluetooth earbuds, at least they've got a couple of keywords in there, search terms that might show up, but nobody's looking for that part number. So they're wasting real estate, and it's not an optimized title at all. And then we'll create 2 or 3 titles and A/B test between those using a product called Splitly. If you're not using that, that's a really good one for testing that out, switching those out, as well as bullet points and images. You can test out different main images. Again, that's, it's not kind of a set it and forget it marketplace. You want to give yourself a few different options and test for and optimize for what's working the best. But even then, it's, don't let it be stale. We recommend, every quarter or so, kind of updating, trying some new images, some new changes, and seeing if you can improve on that. This is another one that we've done. So you've got more, you see filter, removes bacteria, viruses, chlorine. So it's hitting on more features and benefits and more search terms, but not getting super wordy or just keyword stuffed, which is against Amazon's terms of service. Also in the bullet points, we've got a little more. These honestly are a little bit lengthy on some of them for my taste, but you're communicating, again, more features, more clearly the benefits of buying this product. Why should a customer buy your product? So right here, I saw a lot of hands that understand brand storefronts and everything, and probably have brand registry already on your brand. So maybe you're doing this enhanced brand content or A+ content. One of the cool they can regularly update kind of the features that Seller Central offers. And so this enhanced brand content in the last several months has given the ability to do these product comparison charts. So we can compare 4 or 5 different listings, different products that we have for sale, and they're actually clickable. They can go right to that listing. So it's another way to kind of show variations on your page. And then even going down a little bit further, I think we get to the question and answers. So another place to kind of remove some friction, potential friction, or commonly asked questions that customers have. If we can get those questions asked, early on, rather than just waiting for them to just show up eventually, we want to answer those. So if you look at, I think the first couple of questions have been answered by the customer, or by the client themselves, by the company. Also, customers, buyers will also respond to these questions as well. They help here on your listing when people have those questions, but the other place that they can be helpful is on Google. So because Google is such a kind of question and information based search engine now, these can help your product show up and rank on SEO. Thank you for that. We can just back onto, here's a brand page that we, it's all right, that we did for one of our clients. And we're able to show different, so this is a nice landing page for the brand. They get this when they're on the page and you see the brand name just above the top of the listing or top of the titles. They can click on that brand there and go to this page where it's showing your, we have different categories shown, then we have a couple of different direct listings as well as just different imagery from the brand itself, and then bestsellers. So this really looks like kind of like a web page or a Shopify store almost. But we don't just, the number of people that actually click on the brand up there and see is a pretty limited number. What we find most successful with these is actually driving traffic from Facebook or other, other promotional channels, driving people to view multiple listings. We also do it on headline ads. AI commerce earlier was showing the headline ads, the banner at the top of the page with the 3 different products. You're showing 3 different products, but if you can send them either just to one listing or you can send them to your brand store, where again, you're showing multiple products and they have opportunity. And again, it's just a matter of A/B testing between which, and measuring the data, like where are you having the best conversions, where are you having the best impact. Here's another brand page for a fairly local brand, actually. Comfy Critters out of Bentonville. And so they've got a video. Their product is a highly demonstrable product, and so we want to show kind of how it works. We're working with them to do some better videos that show people they actually have several different things that we run in promotions. But we've updated this from time to time to keep it fresh, but as well as just like when we're blowing out a category of products, some old discontinued items, we actually will run a section, create a section for kind of like blowout items. So there's ways to leverage this, and that's what Amazon's all about, right? Just or doing a good job there is finding out what different things are at your disposal and keeping up to date on what those are, and then leveraging them as best you can. Thank you. We can just go back to that. Okay, so again, back to websites. I think Shopify is a really easy, user-friendly platform. I'm not against it. It can be, but we like to code actually build custom sites on the Shopify platform, so that we can protect against things like people just jumping on and seeing what are your best sellers, and and also add a little bit just better custom flow and better design features. So, and then again on your sites and your social media, just talk more. You have an opportunity to talk more about who you are as a brand, and who your consumers are and make that connection. And people do go and look. They a lot of times they find a new product on Amazon. Sometimes they are just searching by category or for the product. But then to establish credibility of your brand, they often go to your website and look to check you out. Drive sales to the site as well as Amazon via social media, Google product listing ads, or Google Shopping, and YouTube. And then regularly posting content and engaging with your consumer, with your customer, with that audience on your social media. We want to read those reviews. I'm sorry, I don't know where we are in time. Are we good? They're going to read your reviews, or you need to read those too on Amazon and understand what the feedback they're giving. Social media is another great place to understand what people are saying about you, what they're saying about your competitors, and how you can improve the product and the experience. And then that's it. Just never stop delivering on whatever that brand promise you land on. Just continue, just be consistent and deliver that over and over again. Pay attention and listen to what your customers are telling you. Keep a holistic view of your e-commerce big picture, because Amazon is obviously hyper relevant, I'll say, and continuing to grow and explode. But this whole space is rapidly evolving and changing. And so I think there's great value in being focused and really putting the adequate resources and focus towards something to make it work, like Amazon. But we can't lose sight or of the other opportunities that might be out there and the things that are going to influence or impact us. So that's our kind of philosophy as an agency, is to look at how are these things best leveraged against each other to help build Amazon or build your website, sales, et cetera. And then just measure, and adjust. The A/B testing is such an important piece, and just looking at every place that you can capture data. Canopy has some really impressive products that they have come out with, so that we can really get a better picture of what's going on out there. Do we have time for, does anybody have any questions? We can, yeah.
Unlike the White House, I got 2 questions. So, do you suggest that you use your brand, if you're branding yourself, should you use your brand name in your titles, or is that real estate that you don't want to give up? In other words, I saw that one had the headphones, whatever the name of it was, in the title at the first. Mm-hmm. Is that?
We do it as a practice. It's Amazon's recommended way. We follow Amazon's recommended path and just add in some a couple of relevant keywords and benefits that reads real well. So you got to look at it from, you're trying to establish that brand too and get eyes on your brand, right? So every time that shows up in a search, or in a sponsored ad, they're seeing that brand. So you don't want it just to say, high quality Bluetooth earbuds, for example, right? You want to have that brand associated. Anytime somebody sees your product, you want that brand. So you want to get that in front of them. And then again, if we can be compliant with Amazon and do what Amazon wants to do, it's in your best interest, right? So there's a couple reasons for doing that. What was your other question?
And then you said something about seeding some questions, to do a question and answer to explain potential problems or whatever you want your customer to know. How are you doing that?
So we have our customers reach out to an audience of maybe previous customers or friends and family or whoever they have that to ask questions.
So they don't necessarily have to have purchased that product, and that's an actual question.
They don't have to. So they don't have to. Somebody they were talking about reviews earlier, and they don't have to have purchased a product to leave a review. It just will it will show up as verified purchase or not. We have no way of knowing kind of how people value that, but I don't think they're too worried about that. They want to just read an honest review about the product. And that's not outside of the Amazon's terms of service. We're not violating anything when we say, hey, if you have customers that you've sold on the website or somewhere else before who have purchased your product here, just go and leave a review on Amazon. We're not giving them anything. We're not incentivizing that. But same goes for the questions.
Thank you.
Also back, with regards to those questions and removing friction, I forgot to mention on infographics and videos, another great opportunity to be able to show, to answer those questions and help people understand how to use your product and just remove any of that friction. You just want to work them through that stuff so they can just click that buy now. Is that it? Yes? You good? All right, thanks.
Thank you.